In today's video, I'm going to tell you why you're stuck in a chronic blushing cycle, why it's contributing to erythrophobia, and what you can do about it, so stick around. If you are on a healing journey, then that means you're probably going back and reflecting on when did blushing start happening, who was there, what happened, how did it make me feel, and that is a great place to start, is knowing first of all, why it started, and also knowing what it is. So if you're curious to know more about blushing and erythrophobia, be sure to go check out my ebook, which is all about erythrophobia 101, what you need to know, and some things that you can do to get started to move past it. But for the purpose of today's video, you're probably starting with, why did this start happening to me? And that's a great place to start. So I'm gonna help you skip past a lot of time-sucking things, and we're gonna jump right into why you're stuck in that blushing cycle and what you can do about it. Before we get started, my name is April. I'm the founder of Blushing Phoenix, and I, yours truly, dealt with chronic blushing, skin flushing, and erythrophobia for about 6 years before I was able to move on from it. And what I realized through going through my own journey of erythrophobia, suffering under the debilitating heaviness of all of it, then rising up into living my best life through transformative action. So that's what we do here at Blushing Phoenix. We empower passionate, creative, and ambitious people who are held back by erythrophobia and social hindrances, move through those fears and live their best life through transformative action. And here's the truth. If I can beat erythrophobia, you can too. Let's get started. So when you started to blush, there was something that triggered that blushing for you. It was either an environmental factor, which could have been that you were outside and you got hot and the sun was pushing down on your skin and making you turn red, and most likely this is the one because it's what I hear most often and it's what happened to me, is that you were with people and somebody said something. So whether that is a boss, a teacher, a classmate, a friend, just a person in general, a random stranger who saw that you were turning red and called it out or asked a question or brought a lot of attention to it. That is what started a blushing cycle for you because it embodied itself in your being as a trauma. And what happens with a trauma is a trauma creates a loop in your brain and it runs in this cycle and it just goes. And so what you do is you start to survey the land, survey people's faces, survey the environment around you, looking for anything that can help validate and reinforce that trauma loop. And you're fearing the thing and you reinforce the blush because you fear turning red. So let me tell you why you blush. You blush because you are stuck in the past. Whenever that thing happened, it created that trauma loop in your brain, and now you constantly live in the past. So even when you're in a present moment, you start thinking about the fear that you had in that situation, whether that was 4 days ago or 40 years ago, and you bring that into the present moment with you. You even project it into the future. You think about an event you're going to go to, a wedding, somewhere where you're going to be public and in front of everybody, or something you have to do at work in the future, and you're already dreading this daunting opportunity to show up because of something that happened in the past. You are stuck in the past, your body is stuck in the past, and you're bringing that into the present and the future with you, so you're constantly stuck in the past. I met a business owner the other day. She and I met for coffee. She runs her own business. She's a coach. She's in the public eye quite often. And as I was telling her about my business, Blushing Phoenix, she asked, well, what is that? What do you do at Blushing Phoenix? And I shared with her, we do erythrophobia and chronic blushing support and resources, and we empower passionate, ambitious, and creative people to move out of blushing, out of the fear, reframing their mind, empowering them through transformative action to live a life that they want. Normally, when I tell people what we do here at Blushing Phoenix, the first thing they do is they get like, what? I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, people are afraid to turn red. That's so odd. But in this case, in this particular case with this person, she lit up. She knew exactly what I was talking about because she herself had experienced a blushing situation. And she said to me, wow, that's incredible that you do that. I blush and I get these splotches on my neck and my chest and my face turns really red. And then she told a story about how she was at an event, maybe like a banquet of sorts, and she had on a nice low-cut dress, and she had been having a couple of glasses of alcohol, which alcohol can make you turn red. And she said that from across the room, an acquaintance yelled out to her in front of everybody, "Are you okay? Like, look at how red you are." And she said, I looked down at myself and I was mortified. I was mortified. And as she was telling the story, we were laughing about it. And she goes, "It actually still feels like a trauma to me." But this particular individual did have a blushing, flushing experience where somebody called it out, but she's not debilitated by blushing and flushing and erythrophobia. And here's why. Because that did happen, and it was a trauma, and it was awful to her, but she was able to pick herself up out of that moment and move back into the present moment. So when she shows up to events and she's doing things in her purposeful coaching business, she's not stuck on this self-worth issue of how it made her feel and what people are going to think about her and what her purpose is in life. She already has those things established. She's already rooted and anchored in who she is and her identity and her self-worth. So it wasn't able to shake that down because she already had that established. Now, what she did share with me is that if she knows she's going to be in an environment where there's a lot of high pressure or there is potential to be embarrassed, she is aware that she might turn red. But throughout the whole conversation that she and I were talking, not one time did she ever flush or turn red. In fact, I was the one at the end of the conversation. You might have seen this on my Instagram page. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. There's a picture of me standing there pointing at the flush that's happening on my neck from where she and I were sitting down having coffee. And I know the reason for that flush for me was because it was actually quite hot in that establishment that we were in. But either way, she didn't care, I didn't care. It doesn't stop me from living my life. And to know that somebody who experienced something very similar to what you have experienced, she was able to move past it and still do the things that she wants and needs to do because she's not stuck in the past. She has a story from the past, but she herself in her body and her mind and her nervous system, she's not stuck there. Okay, so now that we've established why you are stuck in a blushing cycle because you're stuck in the past, what do you do about it? Here's what you do about it. You gotta get yourself in a present moment. And that comes through breath work, yoga, meditation, somatic massage. You can Google, how do I become more present? And you're gonna find a list of things. Watch some YouTube videos. They're gonna teach you all kinds of good stuff. But for the purpose of this video, we gotta get you into the present moment. It's the only way to get away and detach from the past is being in a present moment. So when those old things creep up into the moment that you're living in currently, you're able to anchor yourself to what's a reality in your present moment, and you're able to release the past that's coming at you. Because when those loops are moving through your brain and you're having that trauma response, you're having that adrenaline rush that hits your body, which is what causes you to turn bright red. It's when the adrenaline releases into your body. It's pushing more oxygen. It's assuming that there's a danger, and it's pushing more oxygen through your body. Your blood vessels dilate and the blood moves up to the surface. And if you're more fair skinned, you're going to get that red tint to you. So we got to get you from the past and into the present moment. And you're going to do that by doing self-work. There is no magic pill that's going to do this for you. As much as I talk about propranolol and how I do think it helps bridge the gap, maybe that is an option for you. Go check out my videos on propranolol if you're interested in knowing more about that. But you got to get into the present moment. You got to do that by spending time in the present moment. It's like an exercise. If you've ever been doing an exercise routine and you're trying to lift weights, or you're trying to run a marathon or a 5K, whatever it is you're trying to do, you know when you start that training, it's tough. And you have to keep showing up. You keep having to adjust things in your training, and then before you know it, you're building muscle. You're lifting heavier weights, called progressive overload. You are able to run the distance that you were trying to run because you've become more conditioned. So through things like meditation, yoga, somatic massage, breath work, you're going to be able to tap into the present moment and learn how to be in the moment. Your mind is going to wander. That's all part of being human. And then you learn how to bring it back to the moment. And here's how that's going to help you break the blushing cycle. Because you're going to practice being present alone. Then you're going to go put yourself in an environment where you know that you will blush. Now, this can be a gradual exposure, which is something that feels a little more manageable than just like going and doing public speaking. But hey, if you really want to rip the Band-Aid off, go do some public speaking. But if you need a gradual exposure, then go out with a friend or a friend group that you know that you normally are going to start flushing around them or blushing around them. And you're going to practice being in the present moment. Now you're gonna panic. Your body's gonna do what it's been doing because you have conditioned it that is how we operate in this fear. But what you're gonna do is let that fear happen. You're gonna let the adrenaline do what it does, and you're gonna practice your present moment routines, which is your breathing exercises or a meditation that you do. Obviously, you're gonna be with people, but you can move meditative practices into busy environments. It's just a practice. It's just like the lifting weights and the running that I was telling you about. So in real time, while your body is going to go through the motions of the flush, of the panic, of the fight or flight response, you're going to learn to anchor yourself to a present moment, and it's going to break that loop. Now, fear, anxiety, it's going to run. It's going to do what it does. And it's going to make you feel really uncomfortable. And you've got to be willing to sit in the discomfort. You're going to be fine. Sit in the discomfort. Like, would you rather stay in the discomfort of being alone and regretful and hating your life, or sit in the discomfort of knowing that you're moving yourself forward, that you love yourself enough to show up, and that you have one life to live, and this is the life you're going to live, regardless of whether you turn red or not? But what you're doing is not working. It's just reinforcing the blush. So you have to do something different, which is show up, be willing to turn red. Even if you need to speak to it, even if you need to tell your friends, hey guys, I need to blush in front of you today because here's a thing that I've been working on, and I need you all to assist me on my journey. So as I start blushing, don't make a big deal out of it. Don't start staring at it. I need to be able to sit in a safe environment and pull myself back to a present moment to where I stop hyperfixating on turning red and how I'm looking in front of you guys, and I'm able to stay focused on the conversations, stay part of the laughter and what we're doing right here and now, and so my body can stop having this reaction. That is how you're gonna break the cycle. Nobody's gonna do it for you. There's no magic pill that's gonna do it for you that you don't become dependent on. You're gonna do it. And it's really hard to move your mind, body, soul, spirit, all of that out of a traumatic past event. But it's possible, and you can and you will do it by showing up. This is a transformative action right here that I'm giving you. Here's another thing that I'm going to tell you that you can try if you want to do this alone before you go get in a group and start to test it in real time. I want you to practice this thing called the raisin practice. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a raisin and you're going to put it on your tongue, and you're just going to let it sit on your tongue. Get a piece of paper and a pen, journal, probably better to do this in a journal, and just let the raisin be there in your mouth. And I want you to write down and think about, how does it feel? What does it taste like? What's happening in your mouth? What's happening around you? And this is going to help you to start focusing on the current present moment. And here's the thing, what happens with most people when I take them through this in my coaching practice. They're going to chew the raisin. And they're going to be like, oh man, I chewed it. Because as soon as your mind gets out of the present moment, the temptation or even just the act of, I need to chew this thing, you realize how often you move from the present moment to thinking about something else, or you want to chew it just to move on. You will really become aware and take an inventory on where you're at when it comes to sitting still, focusing, and being in a present moment. And you keep doing this with the raisin until eventually you can sit there with it and stay so focused on it that you feel confident in the fact that you can sit with something and stay in a present moment. So you're just going to document that. I take you through more of this in my coaching practice. This is something I like to start off with all clients, but you can absolutely do this at home by yourself. Just get a little box of raisins and work through being incredibly present with the raisin. See what happens. I'm curious to hear. If you do this, please come back and visit the comments here or send me a message, april@blushingphoenix.com, and let me know how that went for you. So there you have it. This is why you're blushing and what you can do about it. Take what resonates with you from this video. Anything that challenged you or made you feel uncomfortable, don't write in the comments about how pitiful your life is. Sit with those feelings and that discomfort and really explore, what is it that feels so triggering? Do you want to stay this way, or do you want to elevate beyond this thing and live your life? Listen, if you need some help getting this transformative action in play, I am opening up my schedule to take just very limited coaching clients over the summer. This is for people who are extremely serious about transformative action, willing to do the work, willing to be uncomfortable, willing to put themselves out there. If you're interested in coaching, then feel free to reach out to me and I will share pricing details with you and more details about the program. All right, you made it to the end of the video. Hey, leave a comment here and let me know what stood out to you and what I shared with you today. What was a light bulb moment for you? I love hearing from you. And I love hearing about what you're gonna do about it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Hey, 87% of you are not subscribing. And I make this content for free. For you. So you could really help me out by supporting the channel by just subscribing. And I will meet you back here next week for another video. Until then, you better rise and thrive.